One of the reasons that we did the Ukrainian Winter Game Jam was to honor Ukrainian game devs. There are thousands of game devs in Ukraine, some working for big companies or small companies, others in small game dev studios, and others as solo game devs. And of course, there's many who are working hard to become game devs, developing their skills. And they're doing this despite the fact that Ukraine is suffering from a terrible war. The Russian invasion has killed many people, destroyed so much of the country, cut electricity. So being a game dev in Ukraine is a whole lot harder than being one in a lot of the other countries where game devs generally are found. So two of the game devs that we're honoring here today, who, by the way, represent many thousands of other game devs, who are also um, working hard to support themselves, to defend their families, to help win the war and such. Two of them are on our live stream today. Alexander Senin, he's the COO of Starny Games, and Starny Games has been doing military simulation games for a long time. But Alexander also, when the game began, started looking closely at what he and the company could do to raise awareness of what's going on in Ukraine, support Ukraine projects of various kinds. Here's an example of him speaking at a games gathering conference in Bratislava last October. And he spoke on developing a game about the war around us. I should say also that at a previous games gathering, he spoke about how artillery and rocket attacks affect the productivity of a video game studio. And he shared a lot of details about exactly that. So you might look for that at the Games Gathering conference that occurred prior to this one. And of course, look for the Developing a Game About the War Around Us video as well. They're both well worth watching. So Alexander has been supporting Ukraine projects, trying to raise awareness, taking care of his family, keeping the studio going, and basically following his dream of being a successful game dev. And I would honor Alexander Senin here. Tamara is a young Ukrainian game dev, and she has been living in Ukraine her whole life. When the war started, she was in Kyiv, and for the first weeks and so of the war, he was the front line. So Tamara, living in her apartment, had to figure out where in the apartment was the safest if an artillery shell hit the building, which the fact is interior rooms. And the interior rooms in her apartment were the hallway and the bathroom. So her whole family, including her grandmother, spent weeks and weeks and weeks in those spaces, in fear of having an artillery shell hit the building. And at the same time as she was in there, she was also pursuing her university courses in computer science and game development, and also in that hallway working on game tutorials for her Tamara Makes Games YouTube channel, which is well worth watching. And by the way, this Warzone devlog here is one of the videos well worth watching on that channel, along with another one called Ukraine War. So I got to say that Tamara has really worked hard and persevered, and I am going to honor her here for sticking with it and continuing to follow her dream despite the war. And then, of course, there's this whole group of kids, ranging in ages from 11 to 16. They're the Martian Teapots group, and they're in Sumy, which is in northeastern Ukraine, and had been for many months right near the front line of the battles, and was being routinely shelled and rocketed. Despite that, the group, with the support of Ilya, their game dev advisor from Sumy State University, they continued working on developing games of their own, increasing their game dev skills. In fact, this last summer, again, despite the war and all the disruptions, they released a wonderful game on Steam called Crash is Fun. Check it out on Steam. It's a great game, high positive ratings, and go buy it and support Martian Teapots and all the dreams of these kids to be game devs and make a living at it, and I guess you could say live the dream. Unfortunately, not everybody's dreams are going to be fulfilled in this war, and some dreams have already been snuffed out.
Сталося так, що ми відправилися в гарячу точку під Бахмут. І оці 4 села Клічіївка, Кордьомівка, Озарянівка, Андріївка, які постійно звідти привозять людей. На жаль, вже не живих. Це той нещасний квадрат, в якому ми донині. Там просто кепсько, окопатися особливо ніде, тому що земля дуже тверда. І хлопці працюють для того, щоб окопатися не лопатками, а сокирами.
Я пришел на стратегии, а он еще и сталкер делал. Старкрафтом все вместе играли. У нас была команда киевская по Старкрафту. Мы часто с ним встречались на разного рода киберспортивных мероприятиях. Вот. И, собственно, тогда уже Старкрафт шел на убыль, и многие люди так уже редко приходили на подобного рода мероприятия, но тут произошло событие. Разработчик киевский, GSK Game World, они искали себе тестировщиков для своих игр. Вот. И они приглашали киберспортсменов. И вот так вот Фреш, я, еще много-много-много ребят попало на свою первую работу.
Він безмежно любив Україну. Я знала ще до початку війни, що він піде на фронт. Я знала, що він поїде. Я готувалася до цього, але до цього неможливо бути готовим. Він завжди казав, що він створює нові світи. Він був геймдизайнером. Ви всі знаєте про сталкера, про козаків. І він завжди казав, що я створюю нові світи. Написав зраночку 22 числа, перед тим, як ішов на вихід. Написав, що він йде, що мене обіймає. Я написала йому, що дуже люблю його і чекаю, коли він повернеться і відповість мені. Тобто він завжди писав, що я скоро буду. І я чекала, що він повернеться і відповість. Я б сказала, що я досі його чекаю.
So, give me a moment. That video always chokes me up. So our group is working on various Ukraine projects, and one of them is game jams that raise awareness about Ukraine, get people involved in helping Ukraine, and we are doing another game jam, Ukraine themed, called Ukraine War, that's starting on July 28th. And we're looking for people, of course, who are willing to help out with it, promote it, perhaps donate prizes, contribute their skills in social media, and whatever skills you think you have that might be relevant. Please feel free to contact me. And also, if you're interested in getting involved in worthy Ukraine projects, you can contact me at james@lovebirdlab.com, and I'll point you at various projects, including some of our own. So I very much hope that you found this honoring Ukrainian game devs video inspiring, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Ukraine winter live stream. Thank you for watching.